Frank Nez has this awesome blog. In case you guys are unaware, he's an excellent journalist. I don't even like to call it a blog, but that's what it's called here now. When private journalism has really taken a really big step up here from mainstream media, especially in the last couple of years. I think a lot of people have had their eyes opened up as to what's going on here in financial markets and just in general in regards to politics, geopolitics, macroeconomics, and Frank Nez has been like massively, in my opinion, massively important in getting this word out to people. What made you decide to get into journalism and start sharing this information, Frank, on your website?
Well, I appreciate the words, Marcel, truly. So when I first started the site, it was a personal finance blog initially. So it didn't transition into market news until around um, February of when all this stuff was happening with AMC. And so one thing that I noticed, Marcel, was that legacy media was trying to attack the community. They were trying to get people to sell the stock,
Yeah.
both in AMC and GameStop. And I thought it was very strange. So I started looking into the stock. I started to look at the way it was moving, doing research on it. And according to the research, I mean, there's so much short interest, and with this massive momentum that was building from the community, I saw, I mean, I figured, dude, there's literally a chance for a short squeeze here. Why
Oh yeah.
isn't legacy media talking about this? And so that kind of got me to be that force to go against legacy media. So that's basically where I started to publish some market analysis, share some of the information that community members were putting out there. And so I figured this is a great way to tackle mainstream media. And so I just carried that with me. And so that's basically where my um, journalism instincts pretty much took over.
It sounds like you got sick of hearing the lies from the mainstream media.
100%, dude. It
Yeah.
literally it pissed me off.
I think we're all in the same boat. I have a
Right.
very similar mindset. I never had any interest in doing YouTube and Twitter and social media. I didn't even have a Twitter account before 2021, and it became a very similar mindset to yours. It's like there's so many people out there that are putting out fake news. The very least we could do as people that are doing a significant amount of research with others in the community is to share our views and our due diligence. So I'm really happy to hear that. And I was just looking at, and if you guys aren't already following Frank Nez, go to fnez_blogger on Twitter. I got his links up right on the screen right there and down in the description. But I really like this article you just put up a couple days ago about Korean regulators that are imposing billions of dollars in fines for illegal trading. Now it's millions of U.S. dollars, right? Billions of Korean dollars, but some of these
Right.
fees for naked short selling that they're putting out are 5,000% of their profits or of their revenue. Why do you think that Korea is actually making these moves and we're not seeing that same thing here in the United States? I was wondering what your input is on that. Why isn't the United States actually doing similar things to curb naked short selling?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, look, here's the thing, and I talked about this with Mark Falk during the Wall Street interview, and I think that in America, unfortunately, they're using capitalism as a loophole, right, to extract as much of capital as possible from the markets, from the people. And I'm pro capitalism, man. I know you are too, right? But I think when you take advantage of the system, and I think when you um, really start to go into this corrupt side of it, I think that's where you really fuck over the people. And I think that people like us need to be sharing and bringing awareness to what's happening. But in regards to Korea, I mean, we've seen a lot of news come up recently of how they're tackling the issue. Um, and I think that by us raising awareness here in the US, we can also petition or just bringing light to it in itself is a solution, if you think about it. Because the more we spread that type of information here in the US, the more that idea gets to regulators. Whether they do something or not about it, obviously is out of our control. But the fact is, we need to continue taking action. And I know that people have stated throughout the years, well, it's not doing shit. Okay, maybe it might not be doing anything, but as I mentioned before, and you might have seen this from Mark's trailer, but it's just the truth, man. Nothing will happen if we don't speak out, regardless. So the best thing we can do is just raise awareness.
Yeah, I think you're right. Making noise is extremely important. And
Absolutely.
there's so much cynicism, right? And it's rightfully so in a certain sense that it doesn't appear as if a lot of things are happening, but people are making noise, they're speaking up. It's not just, GameStop and AMC. It's really spread out into other things like MMTLP, MMAT, Bed Bath and Beyond, and so on, right? I'm not going to name every one of them, but most of you guys that are watching can think of at least a handful of stocks out there that are heavily naked shorted, heavily manipulated, even precious metals. And so the more people that, like you said, speak up about it, the more that we're shining a light on it, the more pressure that's being put on these guys. So I think that the cynicism is somewhat warranted, but I think it's also that negativity needs to be left behind. I think positivity always wins, especially when people such as yourself are actually making the effort to go out and do these things, to share it with others, to shine the spotlight on it, to call it out and say, hey, other countries and other institutions are making the right moves. They are banning naked short selling, imposing these massive fines. Why is it that the United States is not? And again, like you said, capitalism rules the roost. And I think it's a great thing to a certain point, until it becomes corrupted, until government officials and self-regulatory organizations start to reap massive profits from it. And I think at the end of the day, that's what's going on, is they're making so much money with the status quo that none of them are really working to change it. So I appreciate you for, doing what you can and to spread the good word. Tell me a little bit more about your interview with Mark Falk. In case you guys are unaware, you guys may or may not have seen on this channel, we've had Mark Falk, a producer, director, and writer for the film Wall Street Conspiracy back in the late 2000s. He is currently working on a new series called Financial Terrorism in America, and he actually interviewed Frank Nez here, as well as other people, that you may know of, Wes Christian and such, and a bunch of other retail investors and other, Bob Shapiro, famous individuals that you would know in the space. What can you tell us about how that experience was, actually interviewing with Mark Falk, and what did you guys talk about briefly, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, man. So the experience with Mark was really cool, very professional. Um, I actually loved how similar we think in terms of, and it's funny because I even see those similarities with you, bro. And it's cool because you can tell he's for retail investors.
Yeah,
You
he's
can tell
real.
he really cares. Yeah, dude, you can tell he really cares about what is happening. And he's passionate about helping people. And that's where we really connected. That's something that I really liked about Mark. His team was great. And overall, the experience was very professional, very cool. We touched topic on AMC, we touched topic on MMTLP, a little bit about South Korea as well, and media, the importance of alternative media platforms such as independent news sites, um, Twitter, X, and how important it really is to raise awareness on what is happening, injustices, regulation. Um, so with me, he pretty much wanted to talk about the media side of it, right? He wanted to know how I got started and how I transitioned into publishing content, news articles on AMC, and pretty much everything that's been occurring. So, but it was really cool.
It sounds like it. Yeah, I've had, like I said, we've had him on the channel a couple times. He seems like he genuinely wants to help people, right? He's been doing this a lot longer than you or I have, and I really
Oh,
respect the guy for that. So it's good to see him moving into this kind of space, you know, and reaching out to the retail community and having you on his live stream. I think we're all here hoping that it goes well, and that he's able to get it, you know, posted either in theaters or on, you know, some sort of live streaming service.
oh,
I've actually taken the liberty to reach out to AMC theaters on his behalf without him knowing, and at the very least, trying to connect them together. You know,
yeah.
AMC is right, as you know, as everybody knows, has a distribution side, and I figured, hey, it couldn't hurt you guys to you know do something here with a production partnership with Mark Falk. And you know maybe they'll get back to us, maybe they won't. But I would love to make that introduction if at all possible there. And
That would be cool.
I would think so. I think a lot of people here. Drop it in the chat. Let me know if you guys would be willing to watch financial terrorism in America in an AMC theaters, opposed to having to watch it on you know Prime Video or Netflix. You know, because I think Frank, we can agree that seeing something in theaters is a lot more epic and has a lot more impact than watching it at home, right?
1000%. I mean, the experience is completely different. I have always loved movie theaters growing up, man, and it's like why someone would want to put these businesses to rest, I don't fucking know, man. Like, come on.
No, I get it. Yeah, it looks like the chats are here saying absolutely yes, says Julie. I appreciate that. Yeah. So another thing I wanted to bring up is I noticed that on your website you posted about RFK Jr. retweeting and reposting the investors that are furious about MMTLP, and they have a good reason to be upset, right?
Of
From
course.
your understanding, why do you think that RFK Jr. is reposting these things now when he hasn't previously done so?
You know, I think that the message has reached a lot of very important people. I think it's gotten on the desks of people with power, and I don't think you can ignore it anymore. And I think he understands now the importance of not just the people, but also the impact that social media and that sort of influence that follows it
Mm-hmm.
has. And I think it's very smart on his behalf, to be honest. And just earlier when we were talking about raising awareness, look at what the MMTLP community has been able to achieve by simply doing that, continuously raising awareness. So it was very, I mean, I've been there since the very beginning. It was so cool to see everything unfold, literally day after day, week after week, month after month. And so I know that a lot of people still want some sort of justice or solution to what has happened with MMTLP, but there has been a lot of change um, since the events. So it's very interesting, and I think it's really cool to see him repost that. Also, shout out to Busy Brands. This guy, he's a fucking badass, to be honest. This guy, he is well connected, and he really cares about the community. And I consider the guy a friend.
That's excellent. Yeah, I agree with you. I think Busy Brands and some of the others there that have been working together with the MMTLP community are doing an excellent job. And I think some people are misunderstanding of you know my stance on MMTLP, and I just want to bring that up real quick because I've been saying since before the delisting, there was you know a group of guys, a really intelligent group of guys out there uh, called Team Voltron, that had been sharing information and due diligence about it since before the delisting. And for about a year and a half before then, we were kind of shouting from the rooftops. We were here on this channel telling everybody, hey, I know it sounds good, but the reality of the fact is that this isn't a real stock, that it's not supposed to be trading, that it's a pink sheet, gray market stock that is nothing but a placeholder. You know, do yourselves a favor, do some more homework on it, guys. This isn't something that you should be holding on to unless you should be buying for the purposes of flipping, unless you want to hold it, unless you want that dividend. And a lot of people misconstrued that as being, negative or bearish on MMTLP. But the reality of the matter is that we kind of saw the writing on the wall there of what was happening. And literally a week before then, we were telling people that they need to back off, for the period of over a year, we were telling people. And that's not because we want to tell people what to do with their money, right? But that's because it was very evident that something was wrong here. When market makers have to go out of their way to use loopholes to get a stock to be listed in order to hide short positions on other stocks, right? Like MMTLP and Torchlight, etc. That's a big red flag, right? But yeah, thankfully, even now after it's happened, there's guys like you and Busy Brands and Junk Savvy and others that are standing up for retail, Anna Trades, etc., that are going to Congress and making noise and really pushing the envelope on what needs to happen here. Because regardless of whether it should have happened or not, right? Because the delisting was coming, although they delisted it a little, like a day early or half a day early, you could say, and that really screwed over, tens of thousands of MMTLP investors. And I hate to say, like, I think I was looking today on Twitter, I think this morning, just about an hour ago, I saw somebody mention that another MMTLP investor had, to prevent YouTube, shadow banning, I'm going to say unalived themselves, not out of disrespect, but because YouTube likes to suppress these kinds of words. And I think that's absolutely tragic. I feel for them and their families. And I think that, I want to just say that if you're feeling that way, please reach out to somebody for help. Reach out to a friend, reach out to a resource, call a hotline, do whatever you can. And even I myself have had a lot of people reach out to me in DMs in regards to various stocks, like BBBY and Mullen and a bunch of others that have, gone into bankruptcy and have, really had issues. So I just want you guys to know that it's good to be well diversified and make sure that you're confiding in friends and family. And there are more important things in life than money. But it is also important to make good decisions to whatever extent possible. And I noticed that you posted an awesome, optimistic article about AMC, Adam Aaron. Now, we all know, if you're watching this channel, you're probably well aware that AMC has averted bankruptcy, has become profitable, and is raking in, billions of dollars. I think they're ready to rake in about $2.8 billion this quarter in revenue, which is absolutely phenomenal. These are numbers we haven't seen since before the scamdemic, right? But you were mentioning here in your article about AMC saving millions of dollars by the Federal Reserve interest rate cuts. And that's right in line with what we discuss on this channel, because we discuss a lot of macroeconomics and geopolitics as they directly correlate and influence financial markets. So how do you feel about the future for AMC, the revenues that are currently going on, the rate cuts and such?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the company just make improvements, and I still find it funny how people will try to debunk the facts, the reports. It's all in writing, right? So no, but it's fantastic, right? I mean, we want the company to get to a point where it's in its absolute best shape. So to see that the company is able to save a lot more money annually from these cuts. It's positive news. It's progress. It's going to help the company allocate that capital towards possibly paying down debt or towards innovation, which we're already starting to see that movie theaters are investing billions of dollars in innovation in a much higher premium experience. And so I'm excited for that. I think it's really cool news.
What do you say to people that think that it's a bad idea to invest money into the theaters?
Um, I don't think they know what running a business is like.
Thank you for saying it, because yeah, that's kind of what we've been shouting as well. It's tough
Yeah,
to run a business.
what they fail to understand, Marcel, is that sometimes you have to allocate capital into your business, upgrade it so it can attract more income, so it can attract more audience. It will bring bigger revenue um, through the investments. So I think that's just simply what people fail to realize. And but I understand where they're coming from. They want AMC to tackle the debt, um, as they should. But when you hear about a business reinvesting capital into the company, it's a very positive sign, and it's a good thing.
Yeah, I think so. People seem to forget sometimes you need to spend money to make money. And that's
Exactly.
where AMC's at. It's not like they're not making money. They're gonna pull in over 2.8 billion this quarter. So remember December. Actually, well, yeah, and there's still 4 or 5 days left in the month. They should definitely pull in a really nice profit for this month. But just like you said, running a business is hard, especially a business with hundreds of locations around the country. And people need to keep in mind that this is something that needs to happen in order to keep people coming back, right? For that premium experience. If the video quality is lacking, if the audio quality is lacking, they're going to go to other locations. And if would I rather go to Cinemark and save $1 and get a mediocre viewing experience, or would I rather go to AMC and spend an extra dollar or two to get IMAX, Dolby Digital, top of the line quality? And I think if I'm going to spend the money in the first place, I'd rather get the maximum viewing experience. I think a lot of people agree on that.
Of course.
Frank, tell me a little bit more about your website real quick here. I know you don't have too much time, but I really appreciate you joining us. Where can people find you on franknez.com? Where else can they find you? I saw you were on Instagram and Twitter. Can you drop your tags so I can tell, so people can hear where they're at, where you're at?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, if you guys are interested in following market news, business news, economy type of news, you can follow literally the website, frankness.com. You can join the newsletter or opt in for push notifications. It's super simple. There's literally daily news. So I think you guys are going to enjoy some of the changes that I'm going to be making to the site as well. In terms of social media, again, for market news, you can follow me on Twitter at fnez_blogger. I do have Instagram, as you mentioned. It is more of a private, sort of personal type of lifestyle. So there's not a lot of news going on there. But if you guys are interested in following me there, that's I am Frank Nez.
Awesome. I am Frank Nez on Instagram, fnez_blogger on Twitter. And I got the website right here down below. You guys can see it. And the link's down in the description too if you guys just want to click it. But if you're watching it on the TV, you want to type it in your phone, you can just type in franknez.com as well. Well, hey, thanks again for joining us, Frank. We really appreciate you. Hopefully we can, get together again and do another live stream because this has been a lot of fun. But Frank has
Absolutely.
limited time, so we just want to give a quick thanks. And it looks like the chat is definitely appreciative of you. And I would just want to say thanks again for everything that you do for people. Let's do everything we can to, share the knowledge, right? That's the most important thing.
Absolutely. And kudos to you, Marcel. What you're doing is, bro, you're along the same lines, man. You're raising awareness, you're educating people. And I admire that about you. So keep up the great work. And again, I appreciate you having me on here today.
Thanks very much, buddy. Really means a lot to me. Thank you. You guys see it, right? We're always out here trying to educate, trying to entertain. And that's the whole purposes of it, right? We want to actually make financial markets better. And I know Frank is on the same path. And I really think that this guy is extremely underrated. I think he does not have the number of followers that he should have on Twitter, because the information that he puts out is consistent and it's high quality information that in reality there's not enough people sharing. He's not just one of those what should I say, Twitter users that is pushing out news without any context. He's putting out exceptional quality articles, sharing them on Twitter with in-depth information that I think a lot of people need to be on the lookout for. And the more that we understand this, the more we can do to fight back. And as I've showed you guys before, as part of fighting back, we are actually creating a stock and crypto brokerage firm. I haven't told you guys a whole ton about the crypto side yet, but I will here in the near future. But as far as stocks go, we're going to be routing orders directly on lit markets. We are currently doing a crowdfunding campaign, a Regulation C and a Regulation D crowdfunding campaign via a FINRA-approved funding portal called Silicon Prairie. You can find the links to that down in the description below as well. We are looking for private equity retail investors in order to help fund it, because we do not want to go to hedge funds. We want to give retail investors the opportunity to make a potentially significant profit on the company once we IPO. So take a look at it right now, litexchange.com, and then franknaz.com as well for the news here that you can get from my guy Frank. And again, this is the first time we've ever had him on the channel, but it looks like we got quite a few people, Terry, Samney, Julie, saying, that they appreciate Frank and what he's done here for the retail community, and I do as well. Everyone has their own path, but we are all walking side by side. Now, I don't believe that there are leaders. I believe that we are all equals, and everybody is walking side by side. We are marching side by side as soldiers in this war against white-collar crime. And the white-collar crime affects everybody. The financial terrorism that we're currently seeing is literally that. It is legal and sometimes illegal theft from the 99% by the top 1%. And that is part of why I decided to launch LIT XCHANGE. That is part of why I do this podcast on the various websites you guys can find us at now. And that's why Frank and other people like him are doing, their journalism. They're doing their blogs, they're doing their films, their movie series. This is a serious problem, and the more people that we get attuned to it, the more that we are going to actually create real change in financial markets. Because I don't just say that as hopes and dreams, right? This isn't the fucking Kamala Harris, channel over here where we're living on hopes and dreams and joy. This is realistic. It's very easy. Let me put it this way. No, it's not very easy, but it's very possible for us to implement massive change in financial markets. The way we do that is by speaking up, speaking loud, and doing whatever we can to get other people to be aware of it. Because the more that people become educated, you all right, girl? My dog over here, she's good though. Come here, girl. Good girl. The more people get educated in the matter, the more they're going to understand that they're getting robbed in plain sight. Your 401ks, your IRAs, your thrift savings plans, your HSAs, all of it is getting pilfered. And you can't even see it, but it's happening every single day through naked shorts, rehypothecations, and so on. I'm not even going to dive too deep into it on this live stream. I'm just going to leave it at that. Julie Moonrise keeping the pressure on, and it's worldwide. It's not just here. Cheers, my friends. Let's get lit. Lit markets, that is, with LIT XCHANGE and my guy Frank Nez over here. Thanks again for joining us. I may go live again a little bit later today to discuss some issues going on with NVIDIA, SMCI, and then we can talk more about AMC, Gamestop, and the rest of the precious metals and such. We'll dive deeper